Emmy, how are you?
Emmy, Leo, welcome.
Hello.
Yeah, good to see you.
Facebook friends, left and right. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Another gorgeous day in
really
Samsara.
Say that again.
Another gorgeous day in Samsara.
Another gorgeous day in sunny Costa Rica. It's just been wonderful. It's very hot, but I can't complain about that now, can I? I really don't want to complain about it. I'm happy to be here. And I can deal with heat much better than I can deal with the cold from up north. And I'm going to give a couple more minutes to see if anyone else wants to, anyone else jumps in. See if I could do this for a second and see if nothing is destroyed. I'm happy. I'm trying to do two things at a time, at the same time, and I guess I got it. We are live on Facebook and on our Dharma Talk via the Jaguar Path website at the same time. So I pulled it off. You all know I love multitasking. So have you been, Leo? And here we have 12 participants already. Welcome, everybody. Let me just go to gallery view. There you are. It's so funny how this works. All I could see was Leo in my screen, so I thought it was just the two of us. And there's my brother, Jeffrey, also. And
Hi,
Scott.
Ray. Good to see you again, bro.
It is so good to see you, Jeffrey.
Regards to you, Leo. Hope you're well.
Jeffrey, good. I was gonna say, Ray, that's your two basketball players on your link here.
Yeah.
There you go. Right
At least
each
two.
other, right next to each other.
Well, Megan's a basketball player
At
too.
least.
All right. Far out. Yeah.
So welcome, one and all. I'm so happy you are here. Namaste. Welcome. I'm going to, I decided that I know that we've all been online for many hours, that you two are all on internet a lot the day. So I'm going to keep it nice and short and sweet. And at the same time, I'm also very happy to answer any question.
Well, Ray, I've got
So if
an
anything
idea.
comes up, anything you want to ask, yeah, go ahead, tell me.
Maybe it's because of COVID, and I'll ask this of the group too, because maybe I'm not the only one. My dreams have been more detailed. This has been going on for like months, really. I mean, I have really intense dreams. I mean, we all dream, I get it. But in the context of shamanism, it's been on the tip of my tongue to mention this to you, to talk about it a little bit, about the spirit world or the access, what the dreams mean for us, I suppose is where I'm going.
Absolutely, I would love to. I love questions. I love prompts. They always give me ideas. They inspire me. So thanks so much for that, Jeffrey. I'll bring up a little bit. I want to say that when we talk about dreams in the shamanic world, I'm going to say welcome to everyone as you all arrive. Thank you for being here. I want to talk about two things. I will talk about dreams. Since there's a question that's coming directly from you guys. And my basic theme for today is what's holding us back? What is holding you back? What have you found that's hold you back? And the premise to that is that I feel that there's a lot of things that hold us back. And usually that is, I want to say, the lack of support or even the lack of outlets or possible things to actually do, places, quote unquote, to go, new ways of being. I'm going to touch a little bit about the dream world because the dream world is a very big part of the shamanic practice. And I'm going to just touch on the subject since Jeff asked about dreaming, saying, thank you for sharing that your dreams are more vivid. Anyone else is feeling that? Let me see hands. Is feeling that you have more vivid dreams in the last few months that we've all been kind of locked up, locked in a little bit? Yeah. So I think that we're more all becoming, by definition and by necessity, more introvert. So as we move inward and we're more with ourselves, I feel that domain is beginning to unlock more. Dreams are created by a beautiful ally that we have right in the center of our skull, and that's called the pineal gland. The pineal gland secretes dimethyltryptamine. The pineal gland secretes dimethyltryptamine 3 times. It secretes a big dose the moment we're born. So we're really in this space of essentially a spirit world when we're born. It secretes the moment we're dying. We get a super dose of dimethyltryptamine. And it secretes a little bit of the pineal gland secretes dimethyltryptamine every night, but just a little droplet if you want. I know that's not a scientific term, but just imagine a little every night. And what happens is basically, we also see this in yoga and in shamanism. Yoga, it shows up when we've gone through this intense practice or a deep practice, a practice that we've enjoyed. A practice that we've enjoyed means that we have, hopefully the teacher has taken us through postures that have focused on all 7 chakras. So we've addressed the 6 first glands, and at the end of the practice, we're really feeling them in equanimity, in peace, and they're basically coming down to the space after an hour and a half of practice, where they're beginning to idle. And when all the glands, major glands, begin to idle, that's a signal to the self that the day is over. I'm not outside. I'm not interacting with other people. I don't have to be super careful or super polite or this or that. I don't have to be defensive. I'm not going to be very happy or sad. No one's going to bring something out of, what do we call it, left field. So that's what our glands do, right? When we interact with other people, they turn on and they say, I'm very happy because Jeff said that. I'm super excited because I see Emmy is with us tonight. But if I'm at the end of a yoga practice or of a period of time where I am inside my house, my glands become more and more, find that place of equanimity. When we find that place of equanimity and the yoga teacher says, now close your eyes and lay down, what happens is, again, the pituitary gland, the pineal, gland, gets the signal that everyone else has calmed down. And that's the cue for the pineal gland to start secreting dimethyltryptamine. And what that does is it begins to bring us in a deeper state and in a deeper place. And we begin to move into the dream world. If you look at the shamans of Australia, the Aboriginals, they call this the dream world, and they move into the dream world, and we can do a lot of things in the dream world. The dream world is the foreroom of the spirit world. So if we move further out and we go beyond and we have a lot of dimethyltryptamine in our brain, then we move into this other place, the spirit world, where we'll find saints and avatars, gods, goddesses, demons, everything that's happening in the spirit realm. It can be a little bit far-fetched. I'm just going to say that for today, just to touch a little bit on it, dimethyltryptamine is also what ayahuasca is, what I can dare say, because my beloved ayahuasquero and teacher, Maestro Panduro, is not next to me. I'll say the active ingredient. If he was here, he would either nudge me or actually flip me in the back of the head and say, it's not an ingredient, it's a spirit molecule. So when the shaman does ayahuasca ceremony, what the shamans do is that they are basically ingesting a big, huge dose of dimethyltryptamine, the same exact molecule that the pineal gland produces. And off you go, you see the veils of this world disappear, and you're begin to explore the spirit world. So one of the common things, the denominators between the shamans and the yogis explore this space in Savasana. It's not taught in the Western world. I haven't seen anyone teach Savasana, not to a deeper extent that is what we're doing. We're moving into the dream world. And what's the dream world? We have the awakened world here, the spirit world here, and the dream world is in the middle. And we move back and forth. All the dreams you don't remember, those are way in the spirit world, where perhaps you had an opportunity, Francis, or Shakti, or Shiva, or Hanuman, whoever your favorite gods and goddesses are. And the in-between space, we're bringing those two worlds together, right? I can see some of my friends. Leo was there, and Delia was there, Dila was there, and we all hang out with our friends Hanuman and Ganesh, etc. So I'm getting informations from both these realms, and I'm feeling and basically processing a lot when I'm in the dream world. And in the spirit world, that is the place where I'm moving a lot of karma. That's when what I'm processing in the dreams is basically a space where I'm shifting karma. I'm either paying off some karma, or I'm processing one way or another. So dreams belong to what is called the second attention. It's the other realm. We live in the first, and our pineal gland kind of closes down. We have just a very little secretion of it, very little. And our other glands turn on so we can be interactive with our friends at work, with the space around us in the reality of the awakened world. Now, the pineal gland is the reason that Christ has a halo. The pineal gland is the reason that Lord Shiva has a flame at the crown of his head. And then the other flames around. The bigger pineal gland is what makes the Buddha's hairdo look always like a pine cone. Where's my Buddha? I have the Buddha somewhere. But if you look at Buddha statues, you always see that there's like I wouldn't call it a funny hairdo with a steeple on the top. And that is like a pine cone, symbolizing across the board for all the awakened ones, Christ, Shiva, the Buddha, symbolizing their capacity, their ability, that they have a very big pineal gland that can secrete a lot of dimethyltryptamine that brings them all the way to the spirit world and through, moving through realms. Again, the spirit world itself has layers of heavier energies that move to lighter energies, that move to higher gods, all the way to God, the big light of life itself. Dreaming is wonderful. I would suggest, if you like to, Jeff, since you asked, and you're noticing that you're one. I have a notebook, so when you wake up in the middle of the night, you can write something down. I saw this and that. We were like a chariot with Krishna, and we were doing this or that. Let me see here. Can you please make sure that everyone's muted? I can hear some sound, and there we go. I got it. Jot it down. So jot your dreams down in the middle of the night, because if you don't jot your dream down in the middle of the night, by the end of the night, when you wake up in the morning and you come in this realm, you'll be like, okay, what do I have today? What's my to-do list, et cetera, et cetera. And you switch channels so totally that the veil dropped and you will not remember the dreams.
Who's that?
I think we've mentioned this a little bit. We've touched on this.
That's Ray.
Again, anyone?
Three.
I can.
Talking Dharma.
No.
I can hear someone. If you can please mute your. I don't see who it is. So make sure that everyone is muted. Do I have a button that says mute everyone? I hate to do that. I don't want to mute everyone. I want everyone to have.
I think we're good. I think she got it. She got it.
Yeah, thank you. So when I start jotting down my dreams, one of the things that you'll notice if you start jotting down your dreams is that you begin the pattern of connecting with that space and that part of yourself. And the more you do that, the more access you have to your pineal gland. pineal gland is essential for awakening, for ascension, for enlightenment, for being connected with the divine energy and being connected with what we call the place of origin. So because when we go up through the pineal gland, we basically also rise, what the shamans tell us is that they funnel the seventh chakra, Sahasrara, and our spirit enters fully into our body. And we kind of move in and out. We move in and out. When our pineal gland is like super wonderfully awakened, and when we start jotting down dreams and begin to cultivate that relationship with that realm, the more we do that, the more we're cultivating secretion of dimethyltryptamine through our pineal gland. So we're essentially tapping into the higher realm. So good for dreaming more, keep it up, and keep on bringing in the information. The more information you bring from that world, the more you're connecting to your spirit self. And the more you're able to bring information from that world to this, that means you're opening more of a avenue to bring more of yourself in your body. That's a part of what, when we talk about soul retrieval, where does the soul go? The soul somewhere and it's lost, and we're looking anywhere to find it. It exits from the seventh chakra, from the pineal gland, and it can be moving a little bit further above us and deciding on how safe the body feels. The safer the body feels, the more open the chakras are, or let's call them the meridians or the endocrine system. The more balanced your glands are, the more your spirit downloads into your body, the more present you are. The practice of dreaming and moving in and out makes us, gives us the ability to move more to the spirit world and retrieve more of ourself. And the more of ourself we retrieve and have in our bodies in the everyday life, the more able we are to make things happen in everyday life. The more absent spirited I am, the do things in my everyday life. So dreaming is definitely by itself a huge study, and by itself is a shamanic tool that takes many years to cultivate. But I encourage you to cultivate it in your dreaming and writing down your dreams, because the more you remember, what happens is that if you remember a dream and remember that you were, say, flying, or you're walking on a beach that you'd never seen before, the remembering of the dream triggers all the emotions to the rest of the glands and awakens parts of yourself. And the more you move from this world to the next, and you're again bring that information in, you're awakening parts of yourself that are awakened from that side, from the spirit side. So you automatically, by definition, become more inspirited. You're more spirited person. Let's see. So I hope that to a certain extent answers your question, or sheds a little bit light on dreaming. Dreaming is very big. When we're in the state of semi-dreaming in Savasana, what we're doing is we're in a state where we're moving the brain into theta waves, while the dimethyltryptamine is secreted through the brain and the veins. And in theta waves, dimethyltryptamine in our body, in the blood flow, moves through all the internal organs, and it has the ability to, I want to call it in a way, I can call it, like, give it a nickname. It's a scraper. It'll go inside the internal organs and it will clear out the internal organs. It will scrape the internal organs. And why does that matter? What does that mean? That means that it's exactly, again, what happens in an ayahuasca ceremony, where you have about 1,000 times more dimethyltryptamine in your blood than you would in your dream state. And what happens is that as it moves, it flushes the internal organs. It, by itself, DMT, dimethyltryptamine, is alkalizing. So what it does when it goes into internal organs, it alkalizes them. And in an alkaline environment, toxins cannot be sustained. So we detox our internal organs. Thus, we detox our internal organs. And what does that mean? When I detox my internal organs, I've just created my body. I'm creating more parts of my body, even more importantly, the vital organs of my body. I'm bringing them to an alkaline state of being. Detox means I can be more in my internal organs and more alkaline in my emotions, right? Because emotions are either alkaline or acidic. And the state of my internal organs to begin with, create the emotions, secrete the chemistry of the emotions. When I'm feeling anger, again, it's like that green bile of the liver. When I'm feeling fear and I'm running, my adrenals are pumping adrenaline and cortisol. So dimethyltryptamine flushing through all the internal organs is like telling all the internal organs, you're safe, you're really good, you're alkaline. So then when I have alkaline internal organs, and I look out the world, I'm more likely to react in a positive way than to react in the way that, in an acidic way. And in essence, there's no metaphor here. This is like the actuality of how we're viewing the world. Acidic emotions like anger, pain. It's good. I can't remember any acidic emotions. It's a good sign. See, anger. Give me another acidic emotion, someone.
Fear.
Fear. Thank you. And good to see you, Jerry. Jealousy, wanting things that other people have. All those acidic emotions, eventually, if we live in them, they create problems to our internal organs that can be manifested into will be eventually manifested into physical problems. We need to have an alkaline environment. We more and more live an alkaline life in the sense that we interpret things. So if I'm not acidic and my internal organs are all alkaline, I can live in discernment. If my liver is acidic, my kidneys or my spleen, I immediately lost my discernment. I am leaning in towards being very angry like that, or getting an anxiety. If my spleen is out of balance, I'm like, so what happened? And we tried to get onto Facebook and we couldn't. And if I'm alkaline, it's like, okay, we tried, let's try again for the 10th time to connect on internet here in Costa Rica, which is very hard to do. But if I had, that extra drink, or for whatever reason, I'm having acidity in my liver because I'm living, say, in anger, I'm living in an environment that anger is surrounding me, then I'm more likely by the second or third time I attempt to get on, again, as just trying to get onto internet, I'll be angry. I'll be like, throw my laptop down and feel so right about it, So I guess maybe we could draw the line, my brother Jeff, and say dreaming makes you more alkaline. Dreaming is good for the soul. It brings you closer to the Buddha and any God you choose. And all religions, the pineal gland, even Mother Mary of Guadalupe, she has a beautiful, all the saints in Christianity. And if you also go to Hindu mythology, you will see those radiant halos, and again, across all religions, always symbolizing that, a wide open pineal gland. See if you can remember some of your dreams when you're in Savasana. And when you're in Savasana, that's basically what your glands through the practice. And again, hopefully it's been sequenced so all the glands, parts of the body, and meridians have been addressed. So at that point, you move into the seventh gland. It is opening. You have a really nice deep Savasana. In deep Savasanas, you may also feel like jolts of your body because it's releasing electricity, letting go of any excess electricity from the motor system it doesn't need. So then when you get up, it's like a brand new day. And the brand newness of the day is that you hopefully through that practice let go of some patterns opened some meridian and released the trauma that was essentially creating acidity in one of your chakras, one of your glands or internal organs.
Hey, Ray,
So,
could I share an idea?
yes.
I'll share it with the group. It's about Savasana. Since a lot of us are doing yoga on Zoom, including with you, I've
You're
found,
cutting in and out, Jeff.
oh, okay, you are too, actually. But what I'm simply going to say is, after a Zoom session, I find myself going back to Savasana for some 10, 20 minutes at times, even longer. In other words, I just say goodbye to folks, you know, wish everybody well, and then go right back to the mat and lie there. It's worked out really well. My Savasanas have been a lot longer. And if you're in a position where you can do one that's on tape, it's even better then, because the session will just end and the tape will run, and then you can get up when you're ready. So
That's wonderful. I like that. I like that. It's really healing. I want to say that to that, like my idea, and thanks for the prompt and for bringing up dreams, Jeff. You know, I was thinking about, you know, what's holding us back, and the idea of what's holding us back basically comes to the place of how can we move from where we're at? And the answer to that is that if we look around us in the modern world, less and less we can find solutions that can bring us up from the state we're at to a higher state of self. And one of the most important reasons that that happens is that we all live in the collective consciousness. We all live in the collective common sense. We live in common sense. And that, for many reasons, is very practical and it makes things very real. But at the same time, when I'm stuck and say I came out of a difficult divorce, or I'm dealing with a childhood trauma that is just kind of staying there and is repeating a theme that I feel that I can't get out of. It's like, I'm feeling this is like happening to me or has happened to me and I can't get unstuck from it. Or even say that it's something wrong with me. The basic idea of the shamanic work through and through is that we step out of collective consciousness. And in order to step out of collective consciousness, to be able to change our chemistry, to change, you know, if I'm stuck somewhere, that means my chemistry is stuck, right? My, again, one of my internal organs is expressing itself, one of the, in a negative way, or I shouldn't say negative way, it's expressing itself in dis-ease and disharmony, or a couple of my meridians are not flowing energy as with ease. So I'm feeling discomfort. And that's what I say is my problem. Like I have this problem and I've had it since I was a kid because this or that. Maybe it was my dad left on a long trip and I was afraid he wasn't going to come back. That didn't happen. He was awesome. He would always come back and it would take us with him too. But whatever it is that we may have experienced as kids and it's created an impression, that impression is imprinted, that impression is in some internal organ. So shamanically speaking, I feel that shamanism being also Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, curandero medicine from the shamans of Peru, we always look a little bit and see it's like, what is your feeling and sensation? And we try to see how we can approach that internal organ. You know, in Chinese medicine, each internal organ is a spirit of its own, because it carries an emotion of its own. And say like anger takes over, wants to take over. Watch it how I said anger wants to take over, and that's just totally normal. We were hearing it, it's okay. Well, anger is taking over as a spirit wants to take over your whole body. Have you noticed it? If something starts, you'd start talking about it and it starts rising and eventually it can take over. Or fear, you could be totally frozen, be like, well, I'm afraid. And by the time you start feeling it more and more and more, it takes over. The emotion runs the show. Where did Ray go? Where did Leo go? Where did Patty go? They all went in the background because the emotion, that spirit took over, right? So the idea is, again, that we can't and we don't want to be in a fight with that emotion. Actually, quite the opposite. There's nothing wrong with emotions. What we want to be is in conversation with that emotion. And the uncommon sense, hence, or what I've felt in my life, meeting with the shamans, working with the shamans, becoming a shaman, is that with uncommon sense, I befriend those emotions that are holding me back. First of all, I create a foundation to be able to open a conversation. Because if I can't open a conversation with someone, I can't resolve anything. And it's absolutely the same with our emotions, internal organs, patterns, what yoga calls samsaras, right? The imprint of something that happened. I was imprinted when I was 4 years old. I dropped my ice cream. I looked down, I was in the sandbox. There goes my ice cream that had that imprint in my heart. And then my brain said, everything that I really love, I might lose. And then here it goes again, over and over again. Then my bike broke, or someone stole my bicycle when I was a kid, or later on when I got my sports car and I crashed it. And I keep on coming back and saying, oh my God, it's me. Everything that I love, I will always lose. I will always lose. And that tape just wants to show up at any given time, at any example that seems like that, and is going to be a pattern in my life. And if you ask me, well, I say, yeah, it's one of my characteristics. Hey guys, you know what? I always lose what I love. And it's not true. It is an impression and a way now that I have created a pattern in my internal organs and my motor system to interpret things. So I interpret now these events as the cycle, and over and over and over again. And it's funny, it's an interpretation. It's not a totally wrong interpretation, but the funny thing is, if I heal that, and that's what I say about what can we use, shamanic tools give us uncommon sense ways. Shamanism gives us tools to heal these things, to first befriend them, then maybe say, hey, dear sweet anger, come over here. Why are you feeling anger? I understand you. You have totally the right to be angry. But let me tell you this too. Is anger actually serving you, or has it stopped serving you and it's holding you back? And maybe if the conversation says, yeah, it's not serving me any longer, then we say, well, here, there's an exit. And I can bring you into a fire ceremony and write it on a piece of paper, blow it on a wood, and put my anger in the fire. And through this practice, my subconscious is looking at the anger and that I just had a conversation with being burnt and released, exit from my body. And those neural pathways in my subconscious now remember, because what happens in ceremony and healing sessions really is memorable to the unconscious. And the unconscious, coming back to the dreams, is a big part of the dream world. So that I burnt anger so I don't have to be an angry person anymore is also recorded in my dreams. It's also recorded in the Akashic fields in the spirit world. I just moved, maybe there was anger in 5 generations in my family. And when I did that fire ceremony, I just healed this karmic line behind me. So guess what happened in my dreams? When I surrendered that, I got credit for 5 generations, and I shifted the entire, my entire destiny line and what is going to unfold for the days and years to come in my life. Hoping I'm making sense, bouncing a little bit back and forth. So if I am guess what are the events that are going to be coming to me in my life? The events that necessitate those emotions. And there I go, here I go again. I was right to be angry because they cut the line for the internet here in my house yesterday. So I can be angry again. And but the funny thing is, if I stop being angry, somehow wonderfully these events start being less and less and less. The things that are happening that make me angry are less things happening, or the things that create anxiety, or they create fear, or they create sense of betrayal, or they create whatever of those traumas that each one of us hold. The moment I heal it, then the less it appears and it happens actually in my life. And for some, karma means, or even for some shamans, will say, well, if it's going to present itself again and again as a gift to give you the opportunity to heal it. And when you healed it, then it's not happening anymore in your life, you know? And yeah, maybe I did hit my sports car. Actually, I don't have a sports car anymore, but maybe I did hit my bicycle that I got here in Costa Rica. But now I'm relating it more to, okay, there's a lot of potholes here. It's not the universe trying to make me angry again or make me feel sad again that I will lose something. Am I making uncommon sense? Let me see some hands. I hope I'm making uncommon sense. It's taken me a while. And that's talking about what is holding us back. There's a basic, very important mechanism that we all have that really runs our life, really determines who we are and what we are. I hope everyone can hear me. Let me see some thumbs up. Can everyone hear me? Because I see a lot of frozen images here. A lot of frozen images.
You
We are
break up
connected.
now and
Here you
then.
go. Everyone can hear me? Okay.
Every
See?
now and then you break up, Ray.
Thank you. I will not be angry. It's just the nature of Costa Rica. So one of the things that saying what holds us back is that we have a mechanism that essentially tells us that we need to be a part of the tribe. In order for me to survive, and especially 10,000 and 20,000 years ago, I needed to be a part of the tribe. And what do I need to do to be a part of the tribe? I need to be like the rest of the tribe. Because the moment I stop being like the rest of the tribe, there is a chance that the tribe will ask me to exit the tribe and create my own village, or just basically leave. Because if I am the only one saying that I disagree with a way that the tribe moves, if I am the one that says I disagree with the tribe, then I just might be a threat to this tribe. So two things are happening. Basically, so I'm not a threat of the tribe. I just say yes to everything the tribe says. Yes to common sense, yes to the collective consciousness. And what does the collective consciousness say? You're right to be angry, you're right to feel betrayal, you're right to have problems with about this or that. You are right, they agree. So in other words, I stay the same with my own traumas in order not to change. Because heaven forbid, if I change, I won't be a part of the collective consciousness. And that is the mammalian brain that is overriding, is way before you think. We are mammals before we are Homo sapiens. We are more mammals than we are enlightened beings. We can imagine that we all agree on that. And there's talking about befriending that. I'm going to touch the subject a little bit because I find it wild and interesting. As we don't think of ourselves as mammals. And that's part of this collective consciousness. Is at some point of all times in the dark ages, there's a big statement made that said that human beings are the favorite creation of God, and thus made all the other animals and mammals lesser. So when that happened, we lost touch with that mammal inside us. We lost touch with the more natural way of being. Because we have mammal. I know when I'm wagging my tail. Does anyone else feel that? When you get really happy, it's like I'm almost wagging my tail. Or when I get really upset and I get in my Jaguar and moving like a cat. When we befriend that animal, and that's the other part of the healing that shamanic work helps us with in the modern world, is that we go into para-animal work, and we're beginning to invite the para-animals. We're beginning to heal that separation that was created in the dark ages. We're beginning to once again lean into animals and respect them for their knowledge, and give them credit for their superiority in so many other things, because we've named ourselves superior to animals, but if I find myself in the middle of the jungle facing a jaguar, who is really superior? Or if I go right off a cliff and next to a condor, who can really jump off and who's superior? In so many ways, all mammals, each one has a gift to give. And when we turn shamanic, we turn to say, hey, what do you have to teach me, Jaguar? What can I learn from your amazing dolphin? What can I feel from the cats, the dogs, the birds, all this beautiful kingdom that is filled with divine light and energy and knowledge. So what usually holds us back is the fear of the unknown and fear of losing our space, our place in the tribe. I'm going to pause for a second and I'm going to ask and see if there are any questions. Is anyone that would like to ask any question around what we've talked about tonight? It's easy for me to talk, but I'm really about all these things that I love, and you all know how there's a spirit of a bug. I'm fascinated by this work and I love to share, but I also would like to make sure that I am speaking to you guys for questions that you may have now. If you'd like to, just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask the question. Just gonna give,
Hey,
I'm
Ray.
gonna give a whole. Who is it? Let me see.
I can say hi. It's Stephanie Congo.
Hey, Stephanie.
How are you?
I did not recognize. I'm really good. Thanks for saying hi. I did not even recognize you in this photo. Long time.
It's
Long time. I think last time I saw you, we were in Peru together, like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep. Actually both 4
Cool.
years and
So
5 years ago.
That's so true. There you go. Is there something
funny.
you'd like to share?
Well, there are two things. One I'd like to share, and one is a question. So The first thing is I can totally relate to the being angry piece and things not going right, because that happened to me this morning. I was locked out of an account and was kind of mad, but I have a whole new perception now about that, where I just trust and believe, like the website, I will get access to the website when I need to. And I just kept on doing my work and did not get angry. And sure enough, I got right into the website.
Awesome.
So I know that is definitely a new shift for me, that I walked right through it today. It was great.
And that's that when we awaken the shaman within, means I'm witnessing and I'm saying, oh, I'm seeing, I'm getting angry, and I choose not to, because if I get a little bit angry, it can really hijack my whole system. And then the other voice, which was just saying a while ago, you don't need to be angry, is gone. Like that dream that you had last night, you forgot about it. Now you're fully the angry self. So kudos for you, Stephanie, for doing the work.
Yeah, thanks. And my question is about these samskaras. I've been practicing a lot of perception shifting lately, and I'm wondering if you continually, like this morning, like usually I would just get really mad and it's not going to work out, but like just continually shifting your perception, will that in turn shift your samskaras?
Yes, because your samskaras. So I'm going to just translate. I think I'm getting a lot of new friends here because of the light we have on.
Because it's
so I'm just going to say what a samskara is. Okay. you want to give me the definition of samskara, or should I say it?
Well, I was going to say,
So we start
it's
with a
just-
definition.
It's like a deeply embedded pattern, like a groove in the road that you
it's a
just
trigger.
rivet.
It's a
Yeah, you
trigger in
just
one of the.
keep going.
Mhm. So a samskara essentially is a memory of a traumatic experience that is embedded in one of our internal organs or our gland or or meridian. So it's sitting there like a trigger. If something similar happens to me again, that is awakened, and it's kind of like an alarm system, because if I got hurt back then, I want to keep my eyes open if that's going to happen again, to be alerted earlier to save myself the trouble. The only problem is that usually what happens with the samskara is basically I'm just keep on repeating and repeating the same pattern. Now it becomes a pattern. The trigger has become a pattern. So I keep on getting into the same relationships that end to the same place. I keep on getting this wrong job and I keep on doing the same thing. Whatever it is, wherever we have our patterns, our triggers, that's where our patterns develop. So when I can catch myself, if I've reached a point, and I think this is one of the biggest, if not the most important thing in shamanic work, is like, do we remember that the voice of thought that we have inside our head is not the only voice? So my narrator inside my head abides to the triggers of my traumas. And my narrator keeps on saying, yeah, Ray, you just don't deserve an ice cream. It's going to fall down every time. You don't deserve to be happy with a new sports car. It should be crashed, and now you have a dent in it the second day you bought it. And it's a story of where I begin to identify with. If I've, like you're mentioning now, if I have the opportunity to say, well, that's not true. It's not true. This is not what's happening. And I'm not going to allow myself to be sad, or I'm not going to allow myself to be angry. That means I'm beginning slowly to let that pattern, to move that trigger out of the way. And that means that I'm eventually also changing my personality. And not only that, really clearly and fast enough, people around me are going to start noticing that change. I can have comments from friends saying, how you've changed lately, and they can't pinpoint it. And the bigger part that's also going to happen if I change these patterns is I'm going to begin to attract different kinds of people and different kinds of experiences. I will start being attracted in the sense that I'll start being aware of other types of people and other types of experiences. And I'll start living a different life. So all of the shamanic work, all of the spiritual work, anything that's called evolution is about letting go of these triggers of previous impressions and creating a clean endocrine system, a balanced meridian system, where now the electricity that runs through my body has a beautiful equanimity and ends to a result of a beautiful, we call symmetric and expansive magnetic field. And now I'm looking through my own aura, through my own field. I'm looking through a symmetric lens. That's the lens of discernment. And someone comes up to me and says, well, I really didn't like your yoga class. If my liver is imbalanced, I'll be upset about this. I say, do you believe it, guys? This guy said he doesn't like my yoga class. It's like, I'll be angry and I'll think I'm really right. If my spleen is in balance, I'm going to be like, he didn't like I wonder if anyone else didn't like my yoga class. So, but if I have a symmetry in my luminous field and a person comes, it might just be the fact that this person likes a different kind of yoga. And there's at least 20 yoga styles and at least 20 million yoga teachers. So maybe if I can have a conversation with this person, I can lead them to another yoga teacher, another yoga style that he or she would like. And maybe there wasn't a problem there if they didn't like my yoga class. I imagine that not everyone in the entire population of the planet likes my yoga class. That would be weird. Or I don't know, it could be good either. Either way, the thing is that I stay in my balance, and the place again of enlightenment, or I don't know if it's enlightenment, the place of being balanced is in the place of keeping our discernment, being in the space of discernment. And that is a basic characteristic of any enlightened teacher. the enlightened teacher, the Buddha, the Christ, the Shiva, they all always stay in discernment. They're never taken for a ride from one emotion or another. They're capable of the emotions, right? But they're not usually governed by them. They remain in this open-hearted space. And that basic pattern that happens is that if anything is triggered and I'm feeling that I am threatened, all the electricity, much more of the electricity is going to move to my amygdala and my adrenals, and I will be in a state of fight or flight or freeze. And I will lose touch with my prefrontal cortex and all the faculties that my prefrontal cortex enables me to have, which is discernment, which is clarity, empathy, imagination, all those things that make us be more evolved beings. And if I'm in the back, I now can't solve the problem. I'm in it, and I'm a hostage in that problem, and I'm a hostage of that emotion. I can't access my empathy or my love. This front side of the body, heart and prefrontal cortex, are now less connected, and my amygdala and my adrenals are on. And that is where collective consciousness live. Everyone in the collective adrenals in the amygdala. That's why it's easy to create mass, responses to things. Because the moment I'm feeling that there's danger, I want to stick with the biggest group of people. And that's the reason that, humanity hasn't spiraled up to enlightenment, because we all spiraled down to saying, it's okay, yeah, you should be angry, it's great you're angry, and if you're afraid, it's great you're afraid, and if you're feeling that you're being betrayed, it's great you're feeling that you're betrayed. And I'm not mocking by any means these emotions. I've lived them all, and I think all emotions also have their place, right? They're telling us things. But when they tell me things, seeing why is this person upsetting me, or seeing why is this person making me feel that I'm being betrayed right now, or why is this person making me feel anxiety now, I can use that to, through discernment, weigh out the situation. Through discernment. If I let the emotion take over and I lose my discernment, I lost the lesson, I lost the reason. And here I go, I fall back into poor me. That's how I'm always going to be. I will always feel betrayed. And in other words, then that means that I don't allow myself to open my heart to be closer to another person that actually could offer me the opportunity of a relationship that doesn't hold betrayal in it. So again, we fall back not only to the collective consciousness, but also we fall back to our known self. I come back to the Ray I know. And to change and to let that go, it takes a little bit of courage. I was talking with Miten, Deva and Miten, the other day, and he was saying that to become spiritual, you have to have the courage to jump off the edge. And when I jump off the edge, then I can really receive huge shifts and changes, and then I can move to the next more evolved me. Create a plateau there, then again, another jump off that edge to keep on evolving. To look back and say, whoa, I don't even remember who that Ray was. And I do, I look back 20 years ago, and there was a Ray, a photographer that lived in Athens, Greece, and I really don't remember who that person was. Or like looking at a picture of yourself, I was looking at some beautiful pictures my mom was sharing the other day. It's like, that baby is me? It's so interesting, it's so weird, because I don't remember that. I was like 1 or 2 years old in the picture. I can't remember it. And not only that, but every cell body is not here anymore. My cells are different. My bones are different. My skin, my internal organs are different molecules altogether. I'm a totally new self. But the idea, and like all psychologists say, trauma happens especially early in our life. The idea is that those traumas, the samskaras, are little scars, if you want, that when one cell drops, it tells the next cell to keep that memory of the trauma, so to keep you safe. There's other teachers that say there's nothing safe in a spiritual path. It's about, or Christ saying it's a narrow path that you can take. If you take the wide path, you keep on coming back. You have to come back to agree with everyone else, or else you're going to go back to the circle. You're going to be kicked out. So then the bigger predators are going to eat you. And that's why we don't change. That's why it's hard to change. It's hard to evolve. That's why humanity is evolving very fast. Evolving means I need to change who I am. And it's an interesting catch-22 because like my ego, being a Greek word, me, ego, I, even when I go and take a workshop or the Jaguar Path training, it's my ego that takes me to the training. And funny enough, it's that ego that I'm going to drop through the training. So the ego still wants to hold on to that identity and doesn't want to change because we love our identity. We love being in a known place. And many times we will prefer to be in a known place where there's discomfort rather to go into a new place where it's unknown. Even if they tell us that what we're going to experience in this new unknown place is elation, enlightenment, sweetness, affection, etc., we're usually more comfortable to stay in a place of discomfort that is known rather than risk to go in a place that is unknown. And the truth is, of all spiritual paths, the unknown, to go to a vision quest and be alone for 3 days, or to not stop eating for 5 days, to do things that you don't usually do, to move into that place of fear, is most of the times an exit or a path that will give you the ability to find your new self, find that more evolved self. Horpichai. We have 5 more minutes, and I'm going to check in and see if there's another question, if anyone would like to ask something.
Ray, I have a question that has to do with just what you were saying. So when you're doing a big change, is there a time, I mean, this is my experience, where I know we have COVID too, but that I'm not feeling lonely. I used to feel lonely. That has kind of just—
That's beautiful.
Which is really has been great change, because what I'm thinking is that, but I am alone. I mean, that's the thing.
Alone and lonely are 2 different things. Yeah, there's huge difference.
Yeah, and it's like, how do I, but I of course would like to have more connection. But I'm wondering, as you go on this path, is that kind of a way of that it goes, that you will go through some period of being very much by yourself? Because that's what I'm feeling I am now. I'm finding connection where I need to, like being on a call like this, or joining the Jaguar Path, or I do dance on Zoom. I mean, I'm doing things so I'm not disconnected, but I'm definitely alone more than I've realized as I make
that is beautiful. Thank you for bringing it up. I want to say 2 things. First of all, I know you're in a new place, and I have not forgotten. After the second session, I will bring you to connection with the Jaguars that live up in Michigan. So you'll be less alone. You'll have some more Jaguar Path people and graduates to hang out with. You're going to love these people. But this is a big part of, like, it's exactly what you're hitting the nail on the head. It's just like, in order for me not to be alone, I have to behave like the other friends that are behaving. It's like, oh, we're all going to go drinking in the parking lot. Or it's just, now I have to do that because God forbid I'll be alone. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's not a simple example, but basically we are driven because we're mammals, we're tribal. We move in clusters. This human species likes clusters, right? The lions are tribes, the birds are flocks. Humans are in clusters. And because that's our nature, we feel safer in that. We have given stigma to aloneness, and we name that stigma loneliness. We don't have to be. We're always really alone within our own body and within our own spirit. But the more we cultivate this practice of the dream world, the practice of journeying, practice of being connected with something bigger than just the collective consciousness, you think not only you're never lonely, you're really never alone. Like Kabir says, and the Sufi master says in one of his poems, there's more traffic here than meets the eye. I'm sitting with St. Francis, I'm sitting with Christ, with Hanuman, with Shiva. I'm sitting with a lot of company. And there's something to be said there about that also, that I feel it's just like, it's also something that we witness in our lives, and maybe it's true for some of you, and depending on what phase we're in our lives. I feel that the younger we are, I watch my son, he always is 18, he's like, I can't talk today, Dad, because I'm going to be with those buddies, etc. The younger we are, the more we have fun with other people, and the older we get, the more we really settle in our body, the more fun we have with our own self. And that's where we begin the study of the self-consciousness, study of self, study of cultivating ourselves, and where that also switches. I'm alone a lot, but lonely never. I'm just never lonely. And it's a beautiful trait. Company is always fun. Company is always fun. But being alone is always fun too. And so we should keep a balance, I feel, within all that. Definitely not company many times means that I need to sacrifice my evolution. When I healed my cancer, I needed to do that leap from 2003. When I left Greece, I left everyone I knew. The only people I knew in the United States was my sister and my parents. Like, there was no one else in the whole of the United States that I knew. I didn't know anyone. Some distant cousins, but I wasn't coming in touch with them either. So letting go of all the friends and being alone meant that I wasn't in the company, which triggered either samskaras or triggered the emotions that I was addicted to, the emotions that I was used to, the known place. And as I let that go, then my endocrine system said, well, where's George? Where's John? Where's Mary? Where's Elena? And as these guys weren't around, they didn't trigger any more of those emotions that we used to feel when we all hang out. Guess what else was de-triggered? The emotions that were also giving acidity to myself. My endocrine system, now that I was more alone, totally alone, my endocrine system more and more came into a centered space that I did not need to react with either too much happiness or sadness, anger or frustration. It wasn't positive or negative. I was just let go of all of those, spending hours on end, weeks on end alone in silence. And that gave my endocrine system the ability to find a stability that was by definition more alkaline and didn't take me into this roller coaster ride of thoughts, emotions, and spiraling out of control. Didn't allow anyone to hijack me.
I'm really, it just touched me because I've had two healers. I have a diagnosis of cancer. I'm not owning that because it's not really me.
We're on our way to healing.
I'm on my way to healing. But I've had two healers this week that both said to me, you look different. Your inflammation's down. And these are not doctors, they're the ones an acupuncturist, ones I call her my trauma release person. She's an amazing woman. And now that what you just said is because I've moved. So I'm not even physically where I was. Not that I was connected with many people. That was partly why I moved. But I am in touch with woods right behind me that I didn't know when I moved here. And that my body has actually responded to that move and that emotional, even though.
Linda, I'm going to say this, that you could have not done a better move than to move. Carlos Castaneda said, when death is knocking on your door, change your address. So when we leave our environment, no one can find us. And our body and our mitochondria begin to make the shifts and changes. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
I'm going to bring it home. Thank you, Linda. It's really right on. And I really appreciate your sharing. It's so true. And I'm really happy you moved. I'm going to respect everyone's time. It's 3 past. It's 8:03. Somewhere in the world, it's 7:03 here. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for following my work, the Jaguar Path work. Now a group of people. Really love you, respect you, appreciate you. I'm so happy you're here. If you're not a part of the Jaguar Path yet, note that we're repeating session number 1 tomorrow and the day after. Session number 2 is coming up this weekend. It's not too late to register, although I see a lot of you are already on board. So to be continued in the weekend. If you have any questions, if you want to share or add anything, please shoot me an email at evolve@jaguarpath.com. Thank you so much. And as we say in Quechua, Horpichai Sonkoi. Thank you all. Many blessings. May this time together as being healing and evolving for all of us. Namaste. Horpichai.
Horpichai. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Ray.
Okay,
Thanks,
Ray.
Ray.
Thank you. Good night.
Good to see you again.
There we go.
Good to see you all. Talk very soon. Good to see you, Jerry. Send
to
out
see
an
you.
email if you'd like to connect.
I will. Good to see
I'd
you
love
again.
to see you more.
Absolutely.
Namaste.
Oh, look at you.